In today's show, how scratch matches have become an integral part of the footy schedule. We chat to a promising young midfielder, and assistant coach Ben Hart opens up about his time away from the club.
I deliberately tried to switch off a little bit from footy.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the Optus Crows Show. I'm Mark Pickley. The Crows were forced to withdraw their side from the Sandfield this year due to strict AFL quarantine requirements. Despite being unable to compete in a regular state competition, young Crows are enjoying the opportunity to play against fellow AFL athletes in organised scratch matches. The games have been scheduled against the club's weekly opposition, and they're helping to keep players match fit as they fight to earn a place in the senior side.
We haven't been able to compete in the SNFL this year. We're obviously really looking forward to those opportunities that would have presented for a lot of our younger guys. But we brought our whole squad up here into the hub, and what we've done is we've tried to create opportunities the best we can with the current circumstances and provide some opportunities for our non-selected players to play against some other AFL teams. The one that's getting great opportunity is Kieran Strawn. He's just getting different looks at it each week against guys that have come back from the AFL or are really close to selection.
Just being able to match myself up against guys that I've watched play AFL footy and know, right, I can compete against them gives me real good confidence.
At SNFL there's some really strong ruckmen as well, and in some ways even more difficult to play against, but they are slightly different physical shapes to the type of ruckman that he's going to come up at AFL level. Up against Zach Smith on the weekend, the week before he played against Laddams and Hayes from Port Adelaide, so you know, guys that have played AFL footy and understand what it takes, and him to be in those contests week in, week out, it's been really beneficial.
Obviously it's difficult, we're not playing for points, we're not playing to play finals, and then that bit is difficult. But personally, I've thrived. I've really enjoyed the opportunity to come up against blokes that have played a lot of AFL footy.
We'd still love to be playing the SNFL, competing weekly for wins. So right at the moment we're making the best of a challenging situation.
One young Crow who seems to have earned a regular spot in the club's new look lineup is midfielder Chase Jones. The 20-year-old has shown plenty of promise this season, and we caught up with Chase to see how he's enjoying his second year of AFL footy.
Jones, good lad, weaved his way through traffic beautifully.
Oh, it's been amazing to just be around the boys, like 24/7. Like, you finish training, you come up here, like it's a great facility here, so we are able to just hang upstairs in our area and play table tennis and have that interaction with each other all the time is amazing as well.
Jones, big chance here, flicks it out to McHenry, spent it before it earned it, comes back to Jones, and he breathes life right back into it.
Still going to each week, making sure that you're ready to go, you know what the structures are and you know everything you need to know before going into it. We're all here for a reason, and just pretty much go out and just play the game you love. They set everything out in place for us to do that. Like, that's all we need to worry about and focus on when we go out and play footy. It's good to have a bit of a few games under my belt, so yeah, it's definitely nice.
And now, hugged into the chest. Oh, what an opportunity this is for Chase Jones. Stands at 35, he stands at 30, and now he can stand with arms raised.
Brodie Smith's been working a lot with the midfield side of things. Like, he's also going in there after a few years down back, so working together, get a bit of continuity together, like just trying to work on each other's games, help each other out. As many people would say, nothing beats home, so I can't wait to get back there, see the girlfriend, and just get back to what was sort of normal, hopefully, and whether it happens sooner rather than later, whatever it may be. So we still get to play footy, hopefully.
More to come on the show, and after the break, we relive a huge win against the Dockers at Adelaide Oval.
Now Miller is able to work under the left. He's another exciting player for the Adelaide Crows, who's getting better and better.
Welcome back, I'm Alana Smith. In 2017, the Crows recorded a crushing victory over Fremantle at Adelaide Oval. The Tricolours dominated their opponents in extremely wet conditions to hand Dockers coach Ross Lyon his first 100-point loss. Eddie Betts, Charlie Cameron and Wayne Milera all starred during the Sir Doug Nicholls round clash, finishing with 3 goals each. Thanks to Toyota, let's take a look back at the win.
Lynch, it is pouring down. So much so that even Eddie Betts couldn't handle it cleanly, but Sloan can with the first of the night.
A couple of things that stick out from that game, and obviously it was Sir Doug Nicholls round, so obviously pretty special round to play in. Other thing was it was pouring down with rain.
Here's some of this weather, bucketing down out there now, boys.
Started on the bench that game, and I remember sitting down after we warmed up and come, the siren goes, and I had a quick look out of all the crowd, and all you can see the crowd is just all putting their little ponchos on and stuff like that. So you're like, oh, it must be coming down pretty hard. Then it started bucketing down, and I remember running out just onto the wing, and like the rain was almost like going sideways into my eyes. And I remember thinking like, I never experienced like something like this. I was like squinting, couldn't really see. I was like, hopefully this doesn't stay the whole game. But yeah, it was bucketing down early on there.
Hughes' kick turned over the left. Kick, he's uprising again, Eddie.
Oh, early on in the game, I reckon Eddie almost took mark of the year, and when it was driving with rain, and I think JJ ended up finishing with a goal.
And Jenkins, they swap roles. Jenkins off the left, he's put it through.
Charlie kicked a nice goal from the boundary. I think Eddie was looking for a little backhand pass, but Charlie was trying to claim Eddie's pocket.
And now Charlie Cameron, he's got Betts in his line of sight. He ignores him to kick a memorable goal from the pocket.
The other one probably the Saucies, when he's almost missed run into open goal. I think Smithy kicked it to him, and he's run into open goal, and he's almost hit the post with no one around him at all.
And Sam Jacobs, how did a bloke that size and that slow get away on his own? And he's kicked the goal, but only just.
You got to adapt to sort of what conditions you play in. But yeah, we definitely handled the wet a lot better than Freo that night, and that year we were scoring at will. So we just, I guess, handled it better than Freo that night.
Punch back in from Talia, and now Miller is able to work onto the left. He's another exciting player for the Adelaide Crows, who's getting better and better.
Always, as an Aboriginal person, you want to represent your family, represent your people, and show your culture. I guess Indigenous round obviously emphasises that, and we go through a lot of stuff during the week. You're pretty proud, and you want to show it and to everyone else. So I think a couple of things that stand out for it.
The only place where you can find all the official Crows news is at afc.com.au. Make sure you connect with the club via their social media accounts on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. And for more footy stories, make sure you're following at The Crows Show on Twitter. Well, the pre-game warm-up is an important part of a team's mental and physical preparation, but each player has a slightly different routine they like to follow on match day. A few years ago, we caught up with Crows forward Tom Lynch to find out how his teammates do get ready for a game of footy. Today, we're revisiting that story thanks to Bendigo Bank.
Everyone does their pre-game obviously different, and especially this year the AFL's implemented a new rule where you're not allowed to do any team warm-ups or activities so far out from the game. So I think we run out 15 minutes now before the start of the game, and that's the only time that as a football club you can do something which is structured with the coaches and the other players. We're encouraged, or more than encouraged, to go out there and warm ourselves up before the game. Most of the guys get there probably an hour and a half, 2 hours before the game. It's important and probably imperative that they get themselves in a state that once we do go out there and do our final warm-up, they're in a real good shape to go and play. I like to take a bit of a slow, gradual build-up approach, because once the ball's bounced, it's on. And I found obviously early in my career I was getting myself amped up and probably playing the game way before the game actually came around. So I like to really stay calm and go about things in a bit of a simpler manner than most. Carlos, for instance, will get to the game probably nearly two and a half hours before the ball's bounced, and I always walk in and he's always on the foam roller or stretching or doing something which is ridiculous. Has no relevance for getting himself ready before the game. I seem to be as ready as he is when the ball's bounced. So I regularly tell him that, and the others who do that. But whatever works for them is fine. This year I think Rory Atkins has a good stranglehold on the music, and it's ordinary at best, but you just got to deal with what's out in front of you, because if you complain, then next thing you know, you'll be on the music bandwagon.
Coming up, we catch up with Crows assistant coach Ben Hart.
The situation that occurred clearly in the Barossa was an error, and I was glad that the players and the club itself didn't get sanctioned.
Football has always been a big part of Ben Hart's life, so taking a forced break from the game wasn't easy. The star player turned coach has just returned to the club after serving a 6-week ban, which was part of the fallout from Adelaide breaching the AFL training protocols during the recent season shutdown. He's put the Barossa Valley incident behind him and is now focused on his role in engineering the Crows' revival.
Crows assistant Ben Hart has paid a heavy price after the club broke the AFL's strict training rules in the Barossa.
The situation that occurred clearly in the Barossa was an error, and I was glad that the players and the club itself didn't get sanctioned. It was one they came down pretty hard on, and I accepted and had to take it. But I'm really happy that the club and the players didn't get a copper whack. When I knew I had a suspension and some time off, it was great to be able to get back to the family and spend some time there, but you certainly miss being able to do what your bread and butter is, I guess, and be around the footy club and help the players and help the staff. So really missed it, but at the same time it gave me a bit of a chance to probably look at things from through a different lens, if you like, and see things a little bit differently, and hopefully that'll help my coaching. I deliberately tried to switch off a little bit from footy, but I wasn't allowed to do any coaching, so I kind of stayed away from that completely. And when the games came back, certainly that's when you sort of start to switch on a little bit more about what footy's looking like, and with the change of the rules and what the effect the COVID's had on certain things. So when that came around, it was nice to sink your teeth into it, and certainly not the whole time footy.
Lions wide, Walker, little knock to his own advantage, collects it, time to survey, heads long, goal square, could have let it go, but he took the mark for Frampton.
Taylor's third quarter was really strong. Really strong. So when we do move the footy and we play like the way we want to, and that's Matthew Nix's brand there, then Taylor's got a lot to offer this footy club, and he was great. Set up some goals, kicked some himself. But I also liked the way that Ben Crocker moved in the forward line. I like the way that Shane McAdam attacks the footy. Didn't stick for him on the weekend, but I love what he's got, and he'll continue to play and get better. I think when we straighten up a little bit, Lockie Murphy comes into the game a bit more. He's able to tackle a bit harder and get to the front of those contests. So yeah, there were some signs, but we're building. So we've got a bit to go.
Frampton, good contest, down to Crocker, bounced it and bounced it home.
I think at the moment, as a forward line and probably as a team, we're not a hardened AFL group yet. We've got some hardened players, but not enough, and that'll come. So we just got to keep working on it.
Last week, exciting forward Shane McAdam became the 4th AFL debutant for the Crows this season. Thanks to Flight Centre, let's fly around social media to see how the players acknowledge the achievement of their hard-working teammate. The Crows have a tradition of presenting every debutant with a gift to commemorate their first game. This year, jewellery boxes have been selected as mementos for the club's AFLW side. We tagged along with co-captains Chelsea Randall and Erin Phillips as they delivered the special surprise to their teammates.
Okay everyone, so the Past Players and Officials Association have been very kind, and they have actually organised for every girl from season 2017 till now, every girl that has played or debuted for the Adelaide Crows women's team gets a wonderful jewellery box. We've got their name, their jumper number, what game they debuted. I'm going to go and collect Erin, and we're going to go visit some of our old past players and surprise them at the doors. Hey mate,
what are you doing?
I've got a gift for you. This is from our Past Players Association. This is for debuting for the Adelaide Crows.
Hey.
How cool is that?
Cool.
Stay in your car, mate, because I'm going to jump in and I'll grab the extra jewellery boxes. We'll go see some of our past players.
All right, let's go.
Let's do it.
We're going to a player with probably one of the greatest names in footy.
Yeah. Hello. Knock, knock. All right, so on our
Maisie.
way to see Maisie.
Hey!
Some stuff.
Sergi.
I was originally on the board with the Past Players Association for the first couple of years, and Rod Jamieson, the president, had said we do something for the boys, which is the toolbox, and we'd like to do something for the girls, and we had a look at some different options, and although some of the girls I'm sure would have loved the toolbox, I think majority would love a nice jewellery box to put their medals in and their premiership rings. Given it to for every player that has debuted for the Adelaide Crows. It's just a nice little gesture. You can rip it open.
You're still part of our family. We love you. And here's a little something to say. We love you.
So you can put a photo in there. Of you? Of me. Yeah. Pleasure, mate.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming over and dropping it off. And it just shows the significance of their role that they played with this football club, and I think it's a fantastic little gesture.
Coming up, it's time for Nixie to answer another question from a fan.
Well, it's no secret that the Crows have had a disappointing start to the season, but support from the Crows family remains strong. Thanks to Optus, we've scrolled through social media to see what fans shared with their followers after last week's clash against Brisbane.
Supporters were quick to point out the positives following the Crows' round 4 loss. Some fans had praise for the club's youngest players, while others were excited to see more from the new recruit Ben Keys.
Now, each week on the Optus Crows Show, senior coach Matthew Nix answers a question from a fan, thanks to Thomas Farms. This week's question is from John, who wants to know if Nixie will persist with Taylor Walker and Darcy Fogarty as the second ruck.
Thanks, John, for the question. Look, second ruck is an interesting one. We really like getting Fog up around the ball as well as Tex. We think that they add to us on the ground up there. At the same time, we do need to be mindful of what they are going up against from a hit-out point of view. So we'll have a look at that over the coming days. We're also looking for what's coming through next forward of the ball as far as some height up there and hopefully bring the ball to ground for guys like Murphy and McHenry so they can crumb. So expect to see the possibility of that second ruck over the coming weeks.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Optus Crows Show. Make sure you keep up to date with all the latest Crows news on afc.com.au and follow the club on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. We'll be back next Sunday at 11 a.m. on 7. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. It's bye for now.